Today we're going to be looking at section 1.4, which is on rewriting formulas and equations. And that's what our goal is. We're going to look at how to rewrite and evaluate formulas and equations. Now, a formula is an equation that relates two or more quantities, usually represented by variables. And when we solve for the variable, we're going to rewrite an equation as an equivalent equation in which the variable is on one side and does not appear on the other side. So essentially, we want to get the variable by itself. Just like all the equations we solve for x or y up to this point, we just want to get the variable by itself. We're doing everything exactly the same, only now we have other variables in there as well. So when we look at example 1, we have the equation d equals rt. So it says solve the formula d equals rt for the variable t. So we're solving for t, which means we want to get that variable by itself. So we have r times t. To get rid of the r, it's multiplication, so we have to do a division. So now we're going to have t equals t divided by r, and there is our equation solved for t. Then once we're done with that, we're going to put in the numbers that they tell us. It says find the time it takes to travel 312 miles at an average rate of 48 miles per hour. And so we have that. So now we have to simplify that. So take 38 divided by, take 312 divided by 48, and we get t equals 6.5. So we have to write this in a complete sentence. So it says find the time it takes. So we know that time is 6.5, and we're in units are in per hour. So it takes 6.5 hours for us to drive the trip of 312 miles. So you're going to need your book to do guided practice questions 1 and 2, and they're on page 27. So open your books, page 27, do guided practice questions 1 and 2. You can pause the video and hit play when you are ready to move on. There are the answers for guided practice questions 1 and 2. Notice we solved for the variable that they ask us for first, then we go back and plug the numbers in. All right, we're going to move down to example 2, and they ask us to rewrite this formula with 3 variables. Again, it says solve the formula a equals 1/2 times base 1 plus base 2 times the height. And this is the formula for a trapezoid. Now, it tells us right here, we're going to solve for B2. So I want to get B2 by itself. So the first thing you're going to have to do is get rid of anything that's not directly connected to the B2. And that's the half and the h. Okay, the B1 plus B2 is the last thing that we're going to be able to eliminate because they are linked with parentheses. So I'm going to multiply by 2 because that's going to get rid of the half. So it's 2a equals base 1 plus base 2 times h. So now we can divide by h to get rid of the height. And so we really are going to have b1 plus b2 equals 2a over h. And now the last thing I'm going to do is subtract the b1. We've got to move that one over to this side. So it's going to be base 2 equals 2a over h minus base 1. And there is our answer when we simplify that. Then it says find the length of the other base of the trapezoid if the length is 13 centimeters, the height is 10 centimeters, and the area is 105 centimeters squared. So we're simply going to plug these numbers in. So we're going to go 2 times the area, which is 105, over the height, which we said was 10, minus the base, which is 13. And that's going to give us the other base. So now we just simply do the math on those. 2 times 105 is 210. So we have 210 divided by 10 minus 13. Well, that's 21 minus 13, which is 8. So base 2 is 8. So that tells us that the length of the other base is 8 centimeters. So at this point, I'd like you to do the guided practice questions 3 through 7. They are in your book, also on page 27. They are at the bottom of page 27. So take a couple minutes to do that. Go ahead and pause the video and you can hit play when you are ready to move on. And here are the answers for the guided practice questions 3 through 7. Again, notice we are always solving for the variable. So you'll see that all of these I put a little arrow by the one I'm trying to get by itself, and I'm eliminating everything else, putting everything else to the other side. All right, the next thing we're going to talk about is rewriting equations. The approach you use to solve for a formula for a variable can be applied to other algebraic equations. So this is exactly the same type of thing. Again, we're solving for the variable that they tell us. So here we're solving for y, so I'm going to get the y by itself. So for us to do that, I have to subtract the 5x. Get it out of there. So we're going to have 3y equals negative 5x plus 8. Now I divide by 3. I want to get that out of there. So y equals negative 5 thirds x plus 8 thirds. There's my equation. Now I have it, moved it from standard form into slope-intercept form. And so from here, they want us to put in the variable x equals negative 5. So we're going to go y equals negative 5 thirds times negative 5 plus 8 thirds. Well, negative 5 times negative 5 is 25. So we're going to have 25 thirds plus 8 thirds. Well, 25 plus 8 is 33. 33 thirds is 11. So that's the answer that we would get in that case. Example 4. Now this one's not linear. And again, we're solving for y. The problem with this problem is I have a y here and a y here. Okay, so if we're solving an equation for y, there's more than one, I have to take and make it so there's only one on the left side. So I'm going to use the distributive property. If I take a y out of the first one, it's 2x. If I take a y out of the second term, it's minus 5. So I basically undid the distributive property. And now I have a single y there. Well, I have y times 2x minus 5. So we're going to divide both sides by 2x minus 5. And that's going to make these disappear. So it's 8 over 2x minus 5. And there's our answer. Okay. So we just solved for y. Now, again, we have to plug that in. And so we're going to have y equals 8 and 2x. Well, x is 3, so that's going to be 6 minus 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. So y is going to equal 8. And there's the answer that we get when we solve that problem. All right, I would like you to do the 6 guided practice questions here. I'm going to do all of them. If you just want to do a couple, that's fine. I would make sure to do number 13. But you could do one or a couple of the other ones. As long as you can do that, that would be fine. But make sure to do number 13. So go ahead and pause the video, and then you can hit play when you're ready to move on. And here are the answers for the guided practice questions 8 through 13. Again, notice in number 13, we had 2 y's, so we had to take the y out. We used the distributive property to do so, and then we divided both sides by 4 minus x to get 28 over 4 minus x. The last example we're going to talk about is solving a multi-step problem. So it says a campus bookstore sells t-shirts for $15 and sweatshirts for $22 each. Write an equation for the bookstore's revenue R. So the revenue is going to equal T number of t-shirts and N number of sweatshirts. So 15 t-shirts for $15 per t-shirt plus $22 per sweatshirt equals how much money we made. Now it says solve for T. So we're going to solve for T. Subtract the 22, N. Now we're dividing by 15. So T is going to equal R minus 22N over 15. And then in example 3, it says in order for the bookstore to have $6,660 in revenue for sales of these two items during the fall semester, how many t-shirts must be sold if 150 sweatshirts are sold? So now we just plug in our numbers. T equals the 6,660 minus 22 times the 150 over 15. Well, 22 times 150 is 3,300. So if we calculate that, we are going to get that T equals 224. That means 224 t-shirts were sold in the fall. And we're going to skip the guided practice questions 14, 15, and 16. They're almost identical to what we just did. So we're going to skip those. Now, section 1.4 was on rewriting formulas and equations. Now, our goal, anytime they ask us to do that, is to solve for the variable that they tell us. We want to get that variable by itself. So we're going to do the exact same thing that we did solving equations in sections 1.3 and that you've done all of the time. But our goal is to always get the variable in question by itself and then plug in the numbers that we know. So here's your assignment for section 1.4. And make sure that you have that, and then once you're finished, you can submit that assignment and do the mastery checkpoint.